horsepower Cobra powered inboards. We got 2 rookies there, part of the crew. Owner-driver Tom O'Connell and navigator Greg Harrison. Larry Goldman, of course, has been around. He will be the throttle man aboard Mr. in the distance, and the other boats now following the pace boat and beginning to line up. And very shortly, we will have the lineup for this race. The very first race for the SBR for the 1994 season, and there's the lineup. And as we see now from the inside, there's In Excess, followed by Recovery, Katana, and Airborne, just a few moments away from the beginning of this race. There's one of the turnboats as we go by. As we make our way now to the front of the pack, once again, there's In Excess, Recovery, Katana, and Airborne. The positions have stayed pretty much the same. Now there's How Sweet It Is. How Sweet It Is on the inside, followed by In Excess and Katana. There's our onboard camera aboard How Sweet It Is, too, there, as the boats are getting lined up for the beginning of this race. Here's our helicopter, HMC Helicopters out of Miami in the distance. Freeze frame onboard camera number 2 aboard Recovery, with Bob Kaiser driving and Joey Impressure at the throttle. Now back to our helicopter shot. There's Katana in the lead, followed by In Excess. We now have the green flag on the 1994 Key West Superboat Grand Prix is underway. Going to the immediate lead is Catania, followed by In Excess and How Sweet It Is. Once again, it's Catania in the lead, In Excess and How Sweet It Is, in the very early moments of this 1994 Key West Superboat Grand Prix. To the immediate lead is Catania, followed by How Sweet It Is 2 with the pace boat on the far outside. There's our onboard camera aboard How Sweet It Is 2. How Sweet It Is 2 is your 1993 Modified and Superboat World Champion. There's our helicopter in the background from HMC Helicopters out of Miami. Our helicopter pilot, Mr. Dave Clark. How Sweet It Is a 32-foot skater powered by two 750-horsepower United Racing engines with Mercury drive. The owner-driver, Mr. Carl Myers from New York. Battleman Ed Collier from Boca Raton, Florida. How Sweet It Is 2. The racing team would like to thank some of their sponsors, including Domino Sugar, Reebok, Sweeteners Plus, and Hampton Inn in Key West. Back to our helicopter shot now. You see Catania in the lead there in open class out front, but quickly coming up is Recovery. Recovery moving very quickly behind Catania. It's between Catania and Recovery here for the lead in open class. A battle going on between Catania and Recovery, and Recovery moving up very quickly, has passed Catania, and now Recovery is the leader in open class and the leader overall in this 1994 Key West Superboat Grand Prix. And now there's How Sweet It Is. Beautiful jump by How Sweet It Is 2 on the inside. There's Stealth in the middle and In Excess on the outside. There you can see very rough waters here today, making for some exciting racing. There's Stealth now taking the lead in Superclass, passing In Excess and also Catania on the outside. How Sweet It Is. Beautiful jump. How Sweet It Is 2. M39 Carl Myers boat off to a great start in this race. Of course, this is our slow motion replay. Beautiful jump there by In Excess on the outside. There you see how rough the waters are in this 1994 Key West Superboat Grand Prix. There's the battle between In Excess and Stealth. Of course, Stealth taking the lead over In Excess in Superclass. There's How Sweet It Is 2 now, of course, on the inside. Beautiful jump by M39. How Sweet It Is 2. The How Sweet It Is 2 racing team would like to thank Don Schwebs and the crew over at Lake X, also crew members Richie and Scott. Also special thanks to Chuck Cece over at United Racing Engines. M39 How Sweet It Is 2 off to a great start in this race, currently #1 in the modified class. Now we're on board M39 How Sweet It Is 2 with our onboard camera. And there you can see the spray and the waves and how rough and rocky here it is in this race here in Key West. Very rough waters, windy, but M39 How Sweet It Is 2 handling very nicely here in this race. Mr. Carl Myers aboard along with Ed Collier, the throttle man. As we look to the leaders now, it's Recovery, Stealth, In Excess, and Catania on the outside. Recovery the overall leader right now, but In Excess moving quickly now, getting very close to Stealth, and In Excess moving and has passed Stealth, taking the lead in Superclass. So it's Recovery, In Excess, Stealth, and Catania right now in the early moments of this 1994 Key West Superboat Grand Prix. There is Stealth. This 46-foot Jaguar is the leader now in the Supercat. A little rundown. Recovery is the overall leader and the leader in open class. Of course, In Excess is in first place in the Super V. We understand that Insatiable and Jaws did not even start this race, not even leaving the harbor, and are not in this 1994 Key West Superboat. Beautiful jump by Stealth. Just look at that. Stealth is a 46-foot Jaguar powered by four 1,000-horsepower Cobra power inboards with Arneson drives. The owner of Stealth is Stealth Offshore Racing Enterprises. The driver, Mr. Brett Salter from Lighthouse Point, Florida. Throttle man is Dan Campbell from Fort Lauderdale. And Joe Vasquez, the navigator, is from Hollywood, Florida. Crew chief Kelly Wolf, also from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. You're looking at Stealth, 46-foot Jaguar. Stealth sponsor is WaveTech, a digital imaging company. It's a public company on NASDAQ, and its trading symbol is NEWU or New U. Stealth currently #1 in Super Cat and 3rd overall. By the way, the lettering on Stealth was done by Wilson DeWitt Marine Graphics from Sarasota, Florida. Stealth Racing Team, beautiful jump, beautiful jump. Stealth Racing Team doing a terrific job. There you see how bumpy these waters are here in this 1994 Key West Superboat Grand Prix. Aboard Stealth once again is Brett Salter. He's the driver, Dan Campbell throttle man, and Joe Vasquez the navigator. Doing an excellent job here in this race. Bumpy waters off of Key West. Just listen to those 4 1,000 horsepower Cobra Power inboards. Freeze Frame Video would like to wish the Stealth Racing Team the very best of luck during this 1994 season. Of course, with this one here at Key West being the opener. Stealth. Here's a slow-mo of that jump. Just beautiful. US 1 Recovery is in first place overall in this 1994 Key West Superboat Grand Prix. This is a brand new 46-foot skater and the very first race for this boat, Recovery. It is powered by 2 900 horsepower Mercury inboards with Mercruiser drives. The owner of Recovery is Stuart Haim from Hempstead, New York. The driver, Bob Kaiser from Detroit, Michigan. Throttle-man Joey Imprescia from Babylon. He's also the owner-operator of East Coast Marine. You're looking at US 1 Recovery right now, first in open class and first overall. All right, let's go aboard Recovery now with our freeze frame onboard camera as it was shortly before the beginning of this race. And as you can see, Recovery, this 46-foot skater, going out of the harbor, awaiting the green flag for the beginning of this 1994 Key West Superboat Grand Prix. And we now have the green flag and the race has begun. Recovery, a brand new 46-foot skater in its very first race with this boat. Recovery, US 1. The Recovery Racing Team would like to thank everyone over at Lake X as well as all the people over at Mercury High Performance in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Recovery crew member Willie Schultz installed the freeze frame onboard camera, and we thankfully for that. Also, another crew member, Nick, sometimes known as Sick Nick, is the alternate driver for Recovery, this 46-foot skater, brand new 46-foot skater, and its very first race. With Recovery leaving in excess on its port side, it is now moved into second place overall in this race. Recovery, US 1, taking these bumpy waters very well at this point. There you see Recovery pulling away from the rest of the field as you see some of the boats there on the port side lagging behind Recovery. There's Catania on the starboard side there, also lagging behind, moving down. And Catania, of course, in open class now. Recovery has taken first place overall in this 1994 Key West Superboat Grand Prix. Recovery, number 1. All right, let's ride along now with Mr. Bob Kaiser, the driver, and throttle man Joey Imprescia, along Recovery, number 1 overall. They hear the throttle man Joey Imprescia doing an excellent job aboard this brand new 46-foot skater. Now here's a shot you probably have never seen before. Our freeze frame specially mounted camera in the tunnel of this 46-foot skater, Recovery. Now we're on board again, recovery, and there you see the waters have gotten bumpier and rougher as we are now in open waters. Bob Kaiser and Joey Imprescia doing an excellent job aboard this 46-foot skater, powered by two 900-horse-powered Mercury inboards and Mercruiser drives. Beautiful jump by the Recovery Racing team. The owner of Recovery is Mr. Stuart Hay from Hempstead, New York. By the way, last year the Recovery Racing team won the World Championship at the SBR competition as well as the APBA. They did that with a 40-foot skater. We're glad to see Mr. Bob Kaiser participating in this competition here in Key West. Bob Kaiser from Detroit, Michigan. He's the driver aboard Recovery. Of course, Joey Imprescia, throttle man. He's from Babylon, New York, owner-operator of East Coast Marine. Recovery, first overall and first in open class. Beautiful, beautiful jump by the Recovery Racing team. There's a slow-mo replay. Bob Kaiser and Joey Imprescia doing a fine job aboard Recovery. There are those number 6 Mercruiser drives. In excess, the leader in Superboat V. In excess, a 47-foot Fountain. In excess is powered by 3 1,000-horsepower Mercury inboards with Mercruiser drives. In excess, the driver, Ted Sabarese from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Navigator, Rick Sabarese. Throttle-man, Tress Martin, all from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. In excess, the leader in Super V. The NXS Racing team always does an excellent job. They had a tremendous year last year, 1993. They were the 1993 USO champion, also the 1993 SBR champions, the APBA champions, and the overall Superboat winners for 1993. The NXS Racing team currently number 1 in Super V. Just listen to those 3 1,000-horsepower Mercury inboards. Nice jump there by the NXS Racing team. There's Recovery on the outside, the leader in open class, Recovery. But on the inside, it's NXS, the 47-foot Fountain, currently the leader in Super V. Beautiful jump by the NXS Racing team. You see how rough the waters are during this 1994 Key West Superboat Grand Prix. There's our slow-mo replay of that beautiful jump. Beautiful. Back to live action there. Ted Sabarese, Rick Sabarese, and Tress Martin doing a wonderful job aboard this 47-foot Fountain in these very rough waters. Another spectacular jump. Wonderful job by Tress Martin at the throttle. Let's see it again. By the way, this NXS racing team will be participating on April 29th in the Miami to New York Cannonball Run. Anything goes and anything will go. Any boat, any number of stops along the way. The only thing that matters is who gets to New York first. Just a spectacular jump there, as you just saw the NXS racing team. Let's see it again. Tremendous splash. There you see recovery up front there. Recovery, of course, the leader in open class. In excess, #1 in Super V. In excess, 47-foot Fountain.